Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to your continuing coverage of the Defense 2, brought to and organized by joinDOTA, commentated by Toshley, and sponsored by Razor and BenQ. I haven't put any videos up for the last couple of days because I have been focusing mostly on the International 2 preliminaries. I did do some live casting of that, however, it wasn't very good, and as a result, I'm not going to be uploading it to this YouTube channel, but you can have a look at them over there if you so desire, over at twitch.tv/ToshleyDOTA. But be warned, it's really not as good as the stuff that's on this channel. It's slightly worse. It's not abysmally bad, but it's not as good and not up to my standard, whatever the hell that is. Nevertheless, we will be continuing on with the group stages of the Defense 2, and today we have playing for us today Na'Vi, the team hailing from the land of the Ukraine, over on the side of the Radiant. Very well known, very well respected team and fan favorites within any single tournament they are a part of. They are Na'Vi, and they will be fighting it out against POTM from the Americas, another team that's a bit of an underdog, you can say, but they've had much success recently within the Dota 2 scene, and as a result, they have a lot of fans backing them up, and we should have a fantastic game being played for us today. Also, we have the full roster coming out of both teams. We have on the side of Na'Vi, Poppy sitting in the captain's chair, then we have Havorst, Dendi, Light of Heaven, and Arsart. And over on the side of POTM, we have Frogged sitting in that captain's chair. Then we have Tides of Time. I don't actually have no idea how to say that, so hope I'm saying it somewhat correctly. I'm thinking Aya, you know, Aya, Protoss, Aya, I'm sure that works. Then we have Hooga Luga, and of course, Sneaking. Jumping straight into the draft, seriously? The draft, we have Na'Vi taking out the Invoker, taking out the Sand King, with POTM responding to that with a Darkseer, and we're waiting on the next ban. This has been a very slow draft thus far. Typically, you'd have the ban, typically would already be in the picking phase at this moment, but we're still waiting for the fourth ban, and of course, the second ban for the team of POTM. As to how they wish to proceed, they take out Siren, who has been showing some pretty fantastic play thus far and has reached the status of always ban, pretty much the same as Lycan. I think Siren's a lot worse than Lycan actually, that her ultimate is brutal and a 5-second ensnare that goes through magical immunity. Is there anything worse than that? That is pretty horrible to deal with. But the bans have been fairly standard thus far. SK is not typically someone that you'd see as first ban material to come out of Na'Vi or any team really. And I'm not as versed about POTM and the strategies as I should be, and it could just be a respect ban. Maybe POTM either love to play that Sand King, or they're just really good at utilizing his abilities in Epicenter and so on and so forth. Or maybe they want to run with the Broodmother, because Broodmother is still in the pool. SK is very effective against the Broodmother, but that's a bit of a risk, because they could simply just ban out the Broodmother. But then again, SK is a hero that you often don't want to deal with, because Epicenter, simple as that. It's a horrible ability. No, it's really good. If you don't know what Epicenter does, it does a lot of damage to everything around the Sand King. That's about all there is. It kills things in the nearby vicinity. That's as simple as it gets. Na'Vi, the third and final ban out for the first stages of the banning, going to be the Lycan. Once again, another very standard ban. The only time you don't ban out Lycan is when Siren is in the pool. They pick up Lycan, and then you pick up Siren. And Lycan is pretty bad against Siren because of 5-second ensnare that goes through BKB. And you're not getting away as Lycan if you've got a Siren on the team. And you can even use that ulti to lower the duration of that wolf form. Although the ulti does not go through BKB, which is no doubt sad. So third ban out for POTM going to be that of Nature's Prophet. Makes me a little bit sad. Na'Vi electing to go with the Venomancer for their first pick. And there's still a good amount of powerful heroes on the field. We still have Chen in the mix. We have Enchantress, and Poppy loves to play that Chen, loves to play that Enchantress, and his micro on those heroes is absolutely phenomenal. And I'm somewhat surprised that Na'Vi didn't pick that up, as well as a Broodmother. The SK ban out obviously doesn't hint towards a Broodmother pick up for Na'Vi, or else they would have picked up Broodmother for their first pick, simple as that. There are some powerhouses still left in the fray, which Na'Vi have not picked up. Of course, they've just secured themselves that Venomancer. And POTM have a lot available to choose from. They've got, again, powerhouses like Chen, there's Enigma, Leshrac, Shadow Demon, as I mentioned a few moments ago, there's Broodmother. Who else are some powerhouses that have escaped past the first section of the bans? CK possibly. CK actually hasn't been seeing that much play lately. It seems the hype for him has worn off a bit. When he came out, everyone was picking him. He was first ban, first pick material straight away. And this is one of the slowest drafts I've done in a while. I'm steadily running out of things to talk about. We've got one pick thus far, and we're probably a good amount of time into the draft. But oh well, such is the life of the drafting phase. Very interested in seeing how POTM will build up their composition, and same can be said for Na'Vi. What heroes they will pick. Puppey is, of course, has such a brilliant mind. Rubik's going to be the first pickup, following that up with a Broodmother. Two very powerful heroes, both of which being secured up by the team of POTM. And Rubik is such a fantastic hero, especially if you have heroes, of course, on the opposing team that have those powerful ultimates. And we've seen time and time again where the Rubik will just, as soon as that Ravage goes off, as soon as that Black Hole goes off, speaking of Ravage, there's a Tidehunter, you snag it up, and then you use it straight back against the team that just uses it, and it can have devastating results. It's something you never want to let happen, and it seems very easy. You just use a skill afterwards, but sometimes you just forget in the heat of battle. You might not remember, and of course, the opposing team is going to know that a big ulti was just used because half of them are suddenly dead or stunned or on low HP and so on and so forth. Next couple of pickups for Na'Vi, going to be Tidehunter, going to be Tinker. Both of these heroes are great picks, particularly against the Broodmother. The Tidehunter can lane against the Broodmother easy peasy. He has that survivability. The Kraken Shell means the Spiderlings, they do nothing. And then we have the Anchor Smash, which not only does a nice chunk of damage, but reduces the outcoming damage of the Spiderlings by 40%. So if he gets surrounded by Spiderlings, he starts taking damage, you Anchor Smash, and then they do no damage. It's as simple as that. Tinker is another great pickup because March of the Machines, as well as his global presence that Tinker has. So if you're fighting over in the bottom lane, every single member of Na'Vi is there, and Broodmother is pushing the top lane, starting to do some damage to the tower. Tinker can TP straight to that top tower, can get off too much of the machines, TP back to base, and go straight back into the fight at the bottom lane with the rest of Na'Vi. And Broodmother won't be able to try and do any aggression to that tower for the next few moments or so, because the army of Spiderlings is dead. Fifth pickup for POTM, Enigma. We've got some great teamfight presence to come out of them, but the same can be said for Na'Vi. We've got Tinker, who we've seen Na'Vi play as an absolute powerhouse. Then we have Tidehunter, Ravage. What more is there to say? And then Venomancer, who provides a nice amount of counter push, as well as a good amount of AoE presence. Silly Bear going to be taken out by POTM, Na'Vi responding to that with a Morphling. As to what Na'Vi need, what they might want for their current composition, same to be said for POTM. Again, they have a nice lineup. They've got a lot of heroes that they would no doubt be very happy with, and we don't have much reserve. Actually, we have plenty of reserve time for Na'Vi. I thought that was the reserve time ticking down right there. I was like, oh puppy, you're gonna have to pick fast, but not true in the slightest. But we've got good teamfight presence. We've got a reasonable amount of single target control. We've got telekinesis to come out of POTM, as well as a Malefice stun, which isn't quite as reliable, but it's still pretty decent. And there are still some good heroes in there. There's Shadow Demon, there's Leshrac. I keep saying Shadow Demon, but I haven't seen Shadow Demon played, even in the International. Barely saw Shadow Demon being played, which makes me sad because disruption into anything is just, seems spectacular. Over on the side of Na'Vi, I guess we lack a bit of single target control. We've got a good amount of damage, especially to come out of that Tinker. We've got a Gush, which is a decent slow, alongside of the Venomous Gale. But that's about it thus far. But do they really want any more? Queen of Pain's going to be taken out by Na'Vi, rather. Don't want to give them any more AoE damage. But not really any more AoE damage. They need something to synergize nicely with that Black Hole. Something that can affect every single member. Someone like Leshrac, Queen of Pain, which just got taken out. There's also the issue of POTM are currently looking for a solo mid. Wait, they can put Rubik solo mid. But they also could maybe use an off lane, and then they have Broodmother, so I have no idea where I was going with that. Once again, this is one of the slowest drafts I've ever had the pleasure or displeasure of casting. It is dragging onwards, and typically when we have a slow draft, I would skip ahead ever so slightly, but I didn't bother to do that for this game because I didn't check ahead, and poor Puppey, Chen being taken out by POTM. And Puppey loves to play that Chen, but Enchantress is still in the mix. While Enchantress, not quite as good as Chen, better in the early game, but not so much better in the late game due to the fact that the creeps are weaker, they have a limited amount of time, and there's also of course, no Hand of God, no global heal. But Enchantress still works out nicely, and depending on how Na'Vi want to lane this and want to play this game, might work well with their composition.
10 seconds remaining.
Tinker is obviously, most likely at least, going to be taking the role of Solo Rid. As to the Venomancer and Tidehunter, where do they go? It really depends. Chances are they might want to put Tidehunter up against the Broodmother. It's possible they might want another hero to synergize with that Venomancer and Tidehunter because they both have slows. Maybe mix a stun with that, and we could possibly have an aggressive tri-lane, which means we're looking for 2 solo heroes. You know, we're looking for 1 solo hero and then a hero to synergize nicely with, of course, the Venomancer and Tidehunter. You could have someone with some stuns such as Leshrac or possibly Shadow Demon for initiation. We could also have someone like Night Stalker for more slows and silence. But Windrunner is going to be the next pickup, most likely going to be taking the role of the off lane, which sort of hints towards maybe a jungler or a tri-lane. So we could see Enchantress picked up, which can actually work with a tri-lane, with Enchantress being in their jungle. Or we might see someone like I was going to say Beastmaster, but no. Or, again, someone that would synergize nicely with a tri-lane or a jungler or so on and so forth. We'll have to wait and see exactly how Na'Vi and Puppey play this out. As for pot and bottom, they've got Rubik who can play solo mid. We've also got 2 heroes that can take the offlane, Enigma and, of course, the Broodmother. Enigma will most likely be spending his time in the jungle. And again, we've got Rubik who can play the role of solo mid, we've got Broodmother who can take the solo offlane. So now we're looking for two more heroes that can synergize nicely together and do some damage. Shadow Demon and Leshrac would work out nicely, but they are going to go with a Shadow Shaman, playing the role of support, of course, with 2 disables under his belt and some great pushing power in the form of those of the ward trap, or just wards. I forget what they're called. Mass Serpent wards. Fitting name, I say. And this means Na'Vi have to be careful to not get caught out, because that Shadow Shaman and his shackles, it's a 4.75 second disable. That is a very long time to be incapable of doing anything. And if one hero gets caught out, they're dead. And Enchantress, this was a pretty obvious pickup. They were either going to go with a tri-lane or have a jungler, because you have Tinker in mid, Windrunner in the off lane. So Enchantress, obvious pickup. You can use her in a tri-lane with the Venomancer and the Tidehunter, or you can just put a smack dab in the jungle. So if I were going to guess the lanes from Na'Vi, I would really want to see an aggressive tri-lane, something that I love to see in every single game. We'd have Tinker solo mid, we'll have Windrunner most likely going solo bottom, and then that leaves Enchantress, Tidehunter, and Venomancer up top, with Enchantress, of course, being in their jungle, stealing their creeps, making life difficult for the Enigma. I can't imagine them putting Tidehunter solo against the Broodmother, because how would the lanes work after that? It seems with like Windrunner and Venomancer doesn't seem like a great combination, because Windrunner excels in the fact that she has good escape, which is why she can take those dangerous lanes. Venomancer not so much. Venom Escape will slow them down, but it won't stop them, while Windrun will stop pretty much any form of pursuit at all. You just can't right click her at all. And if you get a stun, well, you'll just Windrun after that. You need a lot of damage, and towards the early stages of the game you don't have that. Bounty Hunter is going to be the 5th pickup for the team of pot and bottom. This is going to give them a nice chunk of extra gold. The extra gold to come out of track is absolutely absurd. So if pot and bottom fall behind, they can easily catch up through good use of the track, and they can get so far ahead again with good use of the track. So Na'Vi have to be careful and make sure they don't let themselves die too much, because every death is going to be significantly worse than it would normally be, thanks to the addition of this Bounty Hunter. And in a few moments we'll be jumping straight into the game, playing it out, Na'Vi versus pot and bottom, and so it begins, and so the pause begins as well, like with every single game of Dota. Over on the side of Na'Vi, we have Dendi playing as the role of the Tinker, Puppey on the Enchantress, Arsart playing as that Venomancer, Light of Heaven to play as the Tidehunter this time. Typically see Light of Heaven playing as the Windrunner, considering the shackles to come out of Light of Heaven is absolutely absurd. And we're going to have Havorst playing as a role of that Windrunner. Over on the side of pot and bottom on the die, we have Frog to be playing as a Rubik, Aya, my life for Aya, playing as a Broodmother. We have Tides of Time to take up the role of the Enigma, Sneaking to be playing as the Bounty Hunter, and Hugala, Lugala, Boogla, Way Too Sexy to be playing as Rasta. And hopefully it won't be a long pause. In the next couple of moments we will return straight into the action. It seems Puppey disconnected. I think the last game with Na'Vi, Puppey spent half of the game disconnecting, which was no doubt horrible, because we spent a good chunk of it paused. And hopefully his computer, his potato, will be relatively stable. Surely he could use some of the $1 million they got from the International to you know, sort of buy them a better computer. Or maybe it could just be internet, but they're probably boot camping, so I doubt that that's the case. This puppy just having some problems, but we're hopefully about to jump straight back into the action. Hopefully. If not, the magic of editing will occur. Okay, puppy's straight back into the game. Why haven't we resumed? That is the question. Let's take a moment to admire the flags. We have Marana, and then we have Marana again. I think Bottom like Marana. And over on the side of Na'vi, the flags have not correctly loaded. The same can be said with the little emblem on the ground. Oh well. And now the resume has been had, and we are ready to jump straight back into the game. How will the lanes look? With Tidehunter in his current build-up, maybe he will be taking the off-lane solo. Especially with Light of Heaven playing as him. I think we typically see Light of Heaven playing in the off-lane, if I recall correctly. The entire team of Na'vi is heading down south, and Pod and Bottom are reflecting that statement with the fact that they're all heading up north. So First Blood will not be spilt on either pod unless, for some reason, one member of the team just decides to swap where they are. And we can see they're both venturing out, pretty much doing the exact same thing. Now taking a little route into the jungle, looking for any First Blood. We have the Ghost Walk coming in on the Bounty Hunter, using it to scout out ahead, but alas, we're not going to find anything. Neither side will both sides rather, will be very much disappointed. Na'vi waiting in position. Same can be said for the team of Bottom, and neither will find themselves with First Blood.
30 seconds.
And now, as we realize that no one's here, we're going to start seeing our lanes form. Who will go who will go where rather, and so on and so forth. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing how both sides lane this. Seems we're going to have Tidehunter going solo bottom. That will leave maybe a tri-lane with Havorst, Arsart, and Puppy up top. I would like to see this. Or maybe we'll just have Havorst and Arsart up top with Enchantress in the jungle, but it's not looking like that. We're going straight to the top lane, and of course Dendi is going in the mid. And the Broodmother is currently situated at top, so the Tidehunter will probably have a swap or something in the next few moments. But then again, Puppy wants to spend his time in the jungle, without a shadow of a doubt, so a swap wouldn't work out so nicely. Aggressive jungling, that is. Ross almost getting caught out. The Venomous Gale catching on him actually in misses, but the slow to come in from the Enchantress is not slow enough nor for long enough for them to want to continue with their pursuance, and they will return straight to the top lane. We have some sentries in hand for the Enchantress so they can start dealing aggression to Aya as soon as humanly possible. Down the bottom we will have Bounty Hunter soloing it up against a Tidehunter. In mid, for Pod and bottom we have Rubik as expected, and in the top it seems we're going to have the Broodmother with the Enigma and the Rasta not too far away. Enigma's of course spending his time in the jungle and pulling the lane. Rasta is sort of venturing around the place, roaming ever so slightly as it were. We've stolen the Centaur Khan. This could be utilized very, very well, very effectively by the team of Na'vi. A AoE stun, what could be more pleasant than that? As well as the fact that the Centaur is level 5, and at this stage of the game, a level 5 will turn out to be very powerful. And I'm going to cut right around from the side, but there are two heroes here. I don't think Na'vi will be able to take this on. It's possible.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
We're chasing after us. We're going straight into the trees. Havorst is homing in as well, eating our ways through. The Centaur stun has gone down. Venomous Gale to follow, and the right clicks are being dealt, and Hooga Booga will be first. What a deny to come out of the Broodmother. Perfect timing for Pod and Bottom. Arsar getting stunned under the trees. Malphus stunned to land down on him, and he will be the member of First Blood, falling under the tower. And Na'vi, what looked to be an easy gank, has turned into a bad situation. Havorst is continuing to pressure on the Broodmother, but it's not going to work out nicely. He's low in HP. The Spiderlings are continuing to pursuit. What a deny out of the Broodmother. What a deny. Thus far, Pod and Bottom are looking pretty good with plays like that. And now Na'vi is sort of back to square one. We don't have our Centaur card anymore. We've sort of lost a very good opportunity to gain just from that deny. Broodmother, Aya, is good player. And the score, of course, 1-0 technically. Pod and Bottom have taken a death, but it was denied. No gold, no experience, no First Blood for the team of Na'vi from that death that the Shadow Shaman took.
Regeneration.
We see Dendi's actually the Tinker is having these problems against the Rubik. Not something you see every day. Typically it's the other way around, but Arsart is getting battered down by these Spiderlings. The towers need to kill them fast. Venomous Gale to go down. It might be enough. 10 HP, but he's regenning thanks to the Tango at just enough speed in order to survive. Very lucky day for Arsart today. Enchantress is deep in the enemy jungle. She wants to find a nice creep to utilize to go kill shit with, for lack of a better term. Will she find it? We'll have to wait and see. She is, however, returning to the lane. Where the hell is the Enchantress? Oh, yes. As I just mentioned a few moments ago. Returning to the lane. And over in this bottom, it's really passive. We're right-clicking each other down, but neither one can take each other out because Bounty Hunter can run, and he simply doesn't have the damage at this stage to take down this Tide Hunter, especially with the addition of Anchor Smash and Croc and Shell. Anchor Smash especially. Just the damage is getting reducted significantly, and we also have a Buckler on hand for the Tide Hunter. So the Bounty Hunter is not going to be able to do any damage to him at all. The Spiderlings attacking, this reveals that there's a sentry nearby, and as a result, the Bounty Hunter, or rather the Broodmother, is going to have to be a little bit cautious when pushing forward for last hits and building up that army of Spiderlings. Tide Hunter currently sitting on 17-4 in the creep score and 17-2 on the Bounty Hunter, so a relatively even exchange of affairs down here at the bottom lane. Over in the middle lane, we have Dendy sitting on a bottle, as well as 16-6 with a Rubik 15-1. So again, fairly even. And this Fade Bolt is not only great for last hits, but it's doing a lot of harassment. You know what I love? I love tri-lanes. It's just this extra aggression. But Poppy almost getting caught out here. The conversion doing a lot of damage. Was Malphite Stun used? Malphite Stun was not used. Poppy has to be careful. One Malphite Stun with a few more right clicks from those conversions, and Poppy could take a fall very, very easily. And that's, of course, the last thing they want to do. But here we have Dendy moving into position. Tides of Time is getting caught out. Malphite Stun to go down, and in the Venomous Gale, just barely missing on the Enigma once again. Power Shot to fly through, doesn't hit him. The Laser Beam flies out. Tides of Time is a few right clicks from getting death, with a Shackle to come in from the roster. Only lasting a couple of seconds. Shackle from the Windrunner. Rockets to fly out. And Hugula Bugula takes a fall under the Tier 1 tower. And Tides of Time is oh so far, or also close to death. And the March of the Machines to go down, which is very smart. However, Havorce might take a fall here. Ayu has no reason to stop pursuing. And one more. There's no mana for the Spiderlings. In 10 seconds, the cooldown will be off for the Soul Ring. However, Windrunner is trying to Windrun away to safety. However, the Spiderlings to block. This is so great play. And suddenly Rubik comes in, zap, and takes the kill. A little bit of an overcommitment there by Na'Vi. Havorce getting definitely caught out there. But it was an even exchange of affairs for the most part. Killed the roster. Unfortunately, didn't get the Enigma, who was very low on HP, very close to taking a fall. And Arsart, considering he's the only one here, this could be very bad for him. The Spiderlings are moving here. The right-click damage is being dealt. Arsart is trying to do what he can. A Venomous Gale to go down, but it misses on the Broodmother. Doesn't hit any of the Spiderlings either. Arsart is dead. Spiderling charges to go out. An easy-peasy kill for the team of POTM Bottom, bringing the score to 3-1. Over down the bottom here, we have Havorce, who's rotated with the Tide Hunter by the looks of it, and all of a sudden, Sneaking has found himself in some trouble. Low in HP, making his way down to the bottom rune, but there is nothing here. He wants to refill this bottle. Or maybe actually he's waiting for it to spawn. Will he get lucky? No, the double damage rune is at top, and suddenly a Seder Hellcaller, Hellfire Blast to fall out, does a nice chunk of damage. Double damage rune to be secured here by the Rubik.
Middle tower is under attack.
So it seems that aggressive tri-lane has since diffused. We have Light of Heaven, the Tide Hunter going solo top. In the mid, it still sits Dendy, who's sitting on 25 last hits, doing relatively nicely for himself. And we have Poppy in the jungle with Arsart alongside Havorce down the bottom lane by the looks of it. Right now, Arsart just sitting near Poppy, soaking up some jungle experience. And Light of Heaven, he still has to be careful. Maybe not, he has a Ravage, and this will allow him to do a good chunk of damage and probably get away from any potential ganks. We see the Spiderlings doing absolutely no damage to Light of Heaven. He has the Anchor Smash, and then he can just right-click everything down. So putting Light of Heaven up against his Broodmother is very smart. But with the addition of the Shadow Shaman, Pursuance and Aggression to come out of that Tide Hunter might be a little bit more difficult. Seems we want to go on him. Anchor Smash to go down. The damage will be reduced. Croc and Shell alongside the Buckler means that no more damage will be dealt. And then we're getting into position. Doesn't have, not the level 6 yet. However, this bottom tower does get taken down by Na'Vi. They're continuing to push this bottom lane. No reason to stop. Sneaking is forced well out of the lane. Thinking of doing a little bit of damage to Dendy. March of the Machines to come out. He doesn't want to get caught out. Frog is moving in. Double damage rune is in hand. Telekinesis to go down. In comes Sneaking. Zap as well as Laser Beams. No rocks to fly out. He doesn't have the mana for it or a bottle as a matter of fact. Where the hell did his bottle go? And Dendy takes a fall over in the middle lane. Meanwhile, the team of POTM Bottom are pushing this top tower. Ravage to fly through. All the Spiderlings take a fall. And in comes a nice Shackle. Light of Heaven Shackle coming out of that. The Malphite Stun to come down on Light of Heaven. And now the roster is running for his great life. IU 2000 trying to do what he can. Anchor Smash to go down. Reduction of the damage. Power Shot to fly through. And after a nice little kill and a good little defense of this tier 1 tower, Na'Vi walk away with a bit of victorious. However, Arsad is about to find himself caught out. Venomous Gale to go down. It misses again. Arsad has been missing every single Venomous Gale that has gone out thus far. And as a result, he's going to get right-clicked down, probably trying to help him out. The sprites to do a little bit of healing. And suddenly a tornado, which is going to do a bit of damage to Sneaking, but it's not going to save his life. And now Sneaking has been forced to run. The sentry ward has been placed down, but Sneaking can just ghost walk his way, walk out of range, and then jump straight into the ghost walk. Enchantress is continuing to try and do as much damage as possible. A nice shackle to go down, but a counter shackle to come out of the Rasta Light of Heaven, taking a lot of damage. He's been turning into a chicken. He takes a fall, and Horse has to be careful. Doesn't want to get caught out. And TP's rolling in at this top tower because POTM bottom are pushing on it, and they're pushing on it hard. And a nice little clutch fortification to go down. They're going to try and get the deny, which they just barely miss. Arsad seems to be playing a bit offbeat today. He's missing Venomous Gales. That timing was actually, to try and deny, was significantly off. Maybe he's distracted by something, not exactly sure what. We're currently 8 minutes into the game, we have 500 in the bank, Soul Ring alongside just normal boots, no boots of travel, and we've got a lot of money to go before we actually get that, so I'd say Dendy's a little bit behind than what he normally is. Typically you'd see boots of travel alongside the Soul Ring at 9, 10, maybe 11 minutes. Tidehunter working his way towards a delicious Vanguard. And we're going to go with full tankiness on the Tidehunter, try and absorb as much damage as possible from all the damage sources, and of course works very nicely against the Spiderlings. Sneaking, currently sitting on 35 for 6. And the team of Na'Vi are pushing out this middle lane. Frog doesn't want to push himself out too far forward because he will get caught out. Zap to fly through, Gush to follow it up, but Frog's no further damage to be committed. We're just trying to take this tower down. We stole a spell, we stole the Gush from the Tidehunter. Might prove to be useful. Enigma moving into position is actually just the conversion. Suddenly Ursa Warrior doing a bit of damage to the creep wave, trying to cut it off, and Horse is just standing, waiting in position, and now the Enigma's moving in. No, it's just the conversions once again, but Enigma is waiting on the high ground, might get caught out. The Anchor Smash goes down, killing all the conversions. Some nice chunk of gold for the Tidehunter. And with the March of the Machines, it cannot fight. Got the Gale to go down, and suddenly Bounty Hunter is here, and instantly the Venomancer melts alongside with the Zap to come in from the Rubik. We also stole the Windrunner, going to allow him to escape. Rockets to fly out, and the slow to land down there on the Night Shackle to go down. Unfortunately doesn't latch. We tried to latch on a hero, but it wasn't not all that successful. A really nice little pickup for bottom. They took a kill, and now they're simply backing off. And Na'Vi are unable to take this tier 3 tower, so it was a nice little defense. And look at exactly what the Broodmother is doing. She's just continuously pushing out this top tower. And because we don't have boots of travel, the Tinker is unable to easily go to this top lane and push them back. And Puppy could find himself caught out, Sneaking, going on a bit of a scouting action. The Courier will get away, not going to be caught out. And Bounty Hunter's waiting for the opportune moment, but now I think he's lost it. He's moving in. No, he's continuing to stay far away from the tower. Doesn't want to get caught out. No, he's moving in once again. They're going to see him. He's going to come in vision range, or maybe not. A sentry ward gets placed down. Continuing to push forward. They want this tier 1 tower very badly. Zap to come out of the Rubik. The Fade Bolt doing a nice chunk of damage and reducing all of the damage from the creep wave. It's a great counter pushing spell. Sneaking, moving into position. Wants to try and engage from a different angle. However, this sentry ward is just so nicely placed. It will see heroes. I believe it will see heroes up here. I don't think it will see heroes here, but it will see heroes. Anyone that tries to approach from the jungle. So Sneaking won't be able to get that clutch surprise that we saw in the last engagement that forced the Venomancer to die a horrible death. And that Fade Bolt coming in from the Rubik is doing loads of damage to him. Rubik looks to be working his way towards a 4-staff, maybe a Dagon. I seriously doubt a Dagon's coming. I mean, we've got the items for it, but I don't think we're going to build ourselves into a Dagon. I really don't, but maybe. Shackle to go down doesn't latch, however. Would have been a nice little shackle. A nice army of wards as well here to hold the line, hold the ground. Counter power shot to fly through. Frogs is getting awfully low, however. Those venomous scale wards are doing some serious damage. The Na'Vi aren't accomplishing much thus far in this middle lane, but they're holding their ground at the expense of course, 2 heroes. Nice ward to be placed down. Another nice ward to be placed down. Over on the top, the same action as always. Tidehunter making sure, working his way towards a Hood of Defiance actually, not a Vanguard, which he will of course turn into a pipe. And over in the middle lane, action is unfolding. A nice shackle to come through, but no follow-up damage has been had. The track has landed down there on the Windrunner. and the team of Na'Vi are going to back off. We're not going to continue to push forward, and Tidehunter's realizing that his team needs some help, and as a result will be making his way down here. But this ward here is going to catch him out. They're going to see that the Tidehunter is coming in to reinforce, and as a result might back off. But this will of course give them the tier 1 tower over the middle lane, and it is exactly what Na'Vi want right now. Hood of Defiance in hand for the Tidehunter. Defensive wards to be placed down. This is going to, however, just simply serve as some free gold once they decide to push themselves a bit far forward. But it does make things a little bit more difficult. These wards do a lot of damage. Combined with the tower, it's a lot of extra damage, and you can't AoE the wards down, which is downright unfortunate. Telekinesis to go down on R side. He's about to find himself caught out. Power shot, Venomous Gale trying to go counter Venomous Gale. No, it wasn't. It was just a power shot. Meanwhile, Sneaking getting shackled up, doing a large amount of damage. Suddenly, two members of Na'Vi melt. Havor's forced to back off. Has a wind run, currently on cooldown. Can't use it to escape. And all of the creeps coming in from the Enchantress have been melted. And what looked like an easy tier 1 tower for the team of Na'Vi is going to turn into their tier 1 tower, getting absolutely beaten down. And Light of Heaven can't reinforce. Meanwhile, Bounty Hunter just killed Tinker? Really? Meanwhile, Light of Heaven can't come in to reinforce because here's the horrible thing that Broodmother does, is it holds on to this lane. I mean, it constantly pushes this lane, and if you leave someone from it, the towers are going to die in a very rapid manner. So Tidehunter has to stay here, and he can't go win the team fight and help out with a nice little Ravage, because he would die a horrible, horrible death. I mean, the tower would die a horrible, horrible death. Counter power shot action coming out of both parties. Frogs is getting awfully low, however. Doesn't want to find himself caught out, and he indeed went for a 4-star. Not going for a Dagon, thank Christ. Like, why? Why would you buy a Dagon? Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. Well, actually, it kind of is, but there are, of course, better items. Meanwhile, Puppy getting caught out here by the Bounty Hunter. An easy pickup for him, especially with the use of that double damage. And Dendy has to be careful. There's one of him, and there's also a Bounty Hunter nearby, and he should know that this Bounty Hunter is close by, and I'm certain Puppy's telling him, you should be careful, or else you're going to die. And with the Enigma moving in, Malphus stun to go down. Who is dead? Dendy's dead. A few right clicks is all it takes. A few hits from the tower doesn't even phase Sneaking. Light of Heaven doing a good job at defending this top lane as he does best, but unfortunately it means that he has to stay here. As I mentioned a few moments ago, he must always stay here. Now Na'Vi are thinking, we have to do something about this. How about we unify at this top lane and we try and take this tier 1 tower down? I still can't draw on the map, which makes me sad. Frog is doing some damage to this tier 1, however. It's just him and a couple of creeps doing all the damage. However, Wildkin to pop out. The Tornado is going to fly through, but then the Wildkin dies, so it didn't really do all that much. And Sneaking is continuing to lurk about the jungle and just killing people left, right, and center. Sprites to go down, joinDOTA doing a nice chunk of damage to him. However, Puppy should be able to escape from this. Drums of War has been used to try and chase him down. The track has landed. Now we just toss to go down on the Wildkin, kill it off, stop that annoying as hell Tornado, and this will be an easy tier 1 tower for them, but it is going to come into trade because Na'Vi are pushing out this top lane. Fortification is going to be dropped. And Pot and Bottom might just continue to pursue on this bottom tower. No, they're going to make their way to top, and we might catch out Puppy because we have the track on him. And who's going to be dead? I think Puppy might be dead. joinDOTA to go down. Toss isn't even following yet. One more right click will do it. There goes a toss. There goes a very easy kill, but over the top, a big fight is happening. A nice black hole to come through, as well as the telekinesis. Havor's takes a fall, but Frog is very low on HP. Tidehunter trying to TP out, but the power shot to come through from the Rubik gets the double kill. Well, Broodmother gets the double kill. And suddenly, everyone's dead for the team of Na'Vi. 4 members are down, Tinker is a sole survivor, and he has to play it safe. He can't pull himself out too far forward, and we're 16 minutes into the game, almost 17 minutes, and he's only just secured himself the Boots of Travel. He needed these a hell of a lot earlier, and if he had them, it meant that Tidehunter could be in the fight alongside everyone else, because Tinker could just TP to this top tower, march to the machines twice, and suddenly all of those Spiderlings die. So that late Boots of Travel coming in from the Tinker was definitely very crucial to the success that Pot and Bottom are having. 3 to 16, technically 2 to 16, because one of those was a death. Looking at the gold graph, over 10k 16 minutes in for the team of Pot and Bottom, and in the XP department, over 12k, once again, for the team of Pot and Bottom. Sneaking continuing to lurk around in the jungle, looking for easy kills, a BKB to be secured here by the Enigma. And now we're moving on the front line. Arsart being caught out, telekinesis to go down, the Hexes to fall, suddenly joinDOTA, suddenly Bounty Hunter, suddenly Arsart melts like a bit of ice in the hot Australian sun. Which I some reason said in a bad Scottish accent. So like an Australian accent, mate. Manta style in hand for the Broodmother. We're going for a BKB just straight for the Manta. Don't really need it. We're not really having a problem with the Sables right now on the team of Na'Vi. On the Windrunner, we're working our way towards a 4-staff, the Light of Heaven. We are going straight for a Pipe. Have our Hood. Pipe is next on the agenda, with Enchantress working our way towards a Mechanism. And over on Bottom Bottom, who are currently working on Roshan, we have BKB again. No mech coming out of the Enigma, which is a little bit curious. I'm guessing someone else will build that mech, or maybe they don't even want it. On the Rubik, we just have that 4-staff. And over on the Shadow Shaman, again, not all that much, but 1,500 in the bank. He has a lot of options available for him. He might just outright buy a Mechanism. Bounty Hunter, Phase Boots alongside Drums of War gives him a lot of speed. Roshan has fallen. Rubik picks up the Aegis of the Immortal. And from here on out, Bottom Bottom are looking in a fantastic position. Boots of Travel finally in hand for the Dendi. Took a while, but he finally has secured him for himself, and no doubt feeling rather happy about that. Now I just realized this tier 1 tower still stands at top, only being brought to half HP after that engagement. Meanwhile, Bounty Hunter killed Poppy once again. Should have seen this coming. It just keeps happening. And it must be really frustrating for Na'Vi to have a hero that is just sort of everywhere. You're not even safe in your own jungle. Venomance is taking a lot of damage, is going to TP out to safety. And with Bounty Hunter heading up top, this could be very bad for the team of Na'Vi. Insatiable Hunger to be dropped down, Shackle to fly out, a nice Shackle indeed, Telekinesis to go down, the Ravage has been popped off, and now the team of Na'Vi, they can't use a Ravage offensively, they've used it defensively, and now are forced to retreat back to the safety of the tier 2 tower. Relative safety of the tier 2 tower, because once the team of Bottom Bottom continue their pursuit, they continue to push on, that tier 2 tower will not exist any further. Again, they are continuing to push forward. They've got a nice army of Spiderlings. They've got no Ravage on the team of Na'Vi. In fact, Rubik stole the Ravage. How did this happen? Bottom Bottom going... I mean, Frog moving in on the offensive. He wants to use that Ravage as soon as possible. Instantly, the Venomancer melts once again. And Bottom Bottom are looking so incredibly dominant. Fortification to go down, but it will only delay the inevitable. This tier 2 tower will fall no matter what. Hunan moving into position, but no Ravage is available, and the counter Ravage to come out of Bottom Bottom, followed by a Black Hole. And now... this tier 2 tower is dead. 2 members of Na'Vi instantly melt, and suddenly Poppy is here who also takes a fall. The wards have been placed down, Telekinesis has gone down, and they're already calling GG. 19 minutes into the game, and Bottom Bottom have secured victory. And in a couple of moments, the throne will fall, and we will move on to the second game. Na'Vi all disconnecting. That was just pure dominance to come out of Bottom Bottom. Yeah, of course, Hand Sandwich asking Frog to stay in the game because if he leaves, it will screw up the Dota TV result and it might actually say that Bottom Bottom won, or maybe it was a tie, or maybe the game just didn't even play properly. The game will end in the next couple of moments. This throne will explode and we'll jump straight into Game 2 of Na'Vi versus Bottom Bottom. This will be the playoffs of the Defense 2. Best of 3. Game 1, as we see right now, going to the team of Bottom Bottom. Please, show the score screen so I can end this. Seriously? Come on. Sometimes the score screen likes to take a while. Nevertheless, my name has been Toshley. This has been the Defense 2. Bottom Bottom going up against Na'Vi, with Bottom Bottom securing the victory in a measly 20 minutes. Looking very strong thus far. Can they bring it to a 2-0, or will Na'Vi bring it back in the next game and bring it to a third game in this best of 3? Ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to keep watching to find out. I'll see you next time.